Good afternoon, everybody, and you're welcome to our club assembly for 2020-2021. It's a momentous occasion when we'll be looking at the future, looking at what Rotary Kilkenny can do in the year ahead. It's been the most challenging of years in the year past, and nobody could have predicted what would have happened when we commenced this time last year in looking at the middle of a pandemic, thinking it'll soon be over. Well, it's not over yet. And we've learned to adapt, and I think adapted in some unique ways. We now have a record of all of the speakers that we've had at Rotary Kilkenny, and they've made a tremendous contribution to keeping the club going. But this day is particularly important for the President-elect. President-elect Stephen Costello only assumed that role a couple of weeks ago, but he has fallen into the role with gusto, and he has worked together with the other members of the council and by himself in drawing up a team for the coming year and drawing up a plan that will ensure that Rotary Kilkenny not only continues to survive, but continues to thrive. And I'm going to hand over now to President-elect Stephen Costello.
President so soon. This is come about a little over 8 weeks ago when President-elect Robert Williams, due to his own health, work and family circumstances, had to step down as incoming president. I'd like to take this opportunity to wish Robert and his family a very, very best, apologies, and the club here to support you and wish you well, Robert. Yeah. Rotary Ireland held the District Assembly on Saturday, the 14th of May. Incoming District Governor Dave Murray set out the plans for the coming year. Kilkenny was fantastically supported at the Assembly. And also on that level, District Governor Joe Mulhall and Executive Secretary Jason Dempsey presented their plans on the day. The Rotary International President is Shaker, Ian, you might help me with his surname.
Mehat
or something.
No, I can't.
From India. Apologies.
Shaker Mekta, I think.
Yes. In May, Shaker had just left hospital after being treated for COVID, which I believe he is recovering well. He has selected the team for the coming year, and it's served to change lives. Ian is going to play a short video if it'll work, hopefully.
Yep. Many of you have been an important part of similar service projects, and you have changed the lives of people. There was a need to serve, and you served. Today, the need to serve has become even more necessary and apparent. So my dear change maker governors, in the coming Rotary year, I request you, urge you, cajole you to serve people and help to change their lives. So, my dear governors, our theme for the year 2021-2022 is serve to change lives.
Okay, thank you. In just a moment, the incoming Rotary Council members will set out their plans for the coming year. Many of the plans are a continuation of great service projects which have been underway in our club for many years. We would encourage all members to give feedback and ask any questions following the review of our plan. After we listen to each club officer, please take a note and ask questions you may have, and we'll take questions at the end. Thank you. We are joined here today by Assistant District Governor Joe Mulhall from our own Rotary Club of Kilkenny. Joe has been a massive help to me since I agreed to step forward a term. Thank you, Joe, for your huge support in making this decision an easy one. Joe's role as AG for this zone is to attend various club assemblies and to provide feedback and input in club's plans. Joe will speak to us shortly from a district level. Below you will see Rotary Club of Kilkenny's council members, officer roles for the coming year. I would like to thank you all for agreeing to fulfill these roles, and I look forward to working with you over the coming year. Finally, I'd like to congratulate excuse me, President Ian Coulter for what can only be described as the most difficult term anyone has had to face, And I'm sure you'll all agree, Ian has done an amazing job at keeping Rotary Kilkenny alive and certainly very relevant with the stellar lineup of guest speakers. Well done, Ian. Can you share the list of officers or?
Yes, I can. Just bear with me for a moment. I'll just open it up first of all.
Thanks. Is Sharon with us?
Can't see her there now.
No. Okay. She was next to speak, so we can skip forward.
Now,
Dermot is there. Maybe he'd like to speak.
Yeah, I'll do so in a moment now. No problem.
Thank you, Dermot.
now, there we are. Oh, that's the club. This hasn't been updated, I'm afraid. I'll just update that now.
Did I not send you the revised? Sorry, I thought I sent it to you.
Yeah.
That should be Siobhan Collier. It should be Elaine O'Dwyer.
Yeah, I actually had this done, and I'm not sure where the one that I
it's okay.
had. So I'm sorry about this. This is last year's one. Oh, there's Sharon now coming in. Club secretary.
We can send out a list after.
Yeah. And
don't worry about that.
Yeah. So who is the youth services chair for the coming year?
Elaine O'Dwyer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pardon me.
And foundation chair?
It's actually myself and Dermot are sharing for the moment until we find a very eager candidate.
And
everyone will be taking the other side of the road when they see you coming now, Stephen.
That's why you're going to walk on the other side and help me. Myself and Dermot will track someone down.
Now, can you see that on screen?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
You said Sharon joined, did she?
Yes.
Yeah. Sharon, would you like to say a few words on as club secretary?
Okay. Right. I went through from what we were talking about earlier on there, Stephen. I suppose as club secretary, I'll follow the guidance from the club and follow the guidance from the 3-year strategic plan that's still ongoing as far as I'm aware. Then there is the continuation of the meetings on a monthly basis. The SGM will be held in December. The AGM is in May. And at the moment, I suppose all of the meetings will continue to be held via Zoom until I think September. We were talking about, Stephen, that they might start recommence in the clubhouse, or and if the meetings don't go on a monthly basis over the summer break, I think there was some discussion as to whether there should be a summer break or not. It might be possible to meet up for coffees, etc., in place of the meetings. I know Stephen has a new meeting or a speaker scheduled for July, but there may be an argument for reducing the meetings or creating a different format over the summer months. I had notes, and I'm sorry, I'm having problems with my Wi-Fi today and I can't get into them. Oh yeah, so I think I've received notes from Jimmy and from Deirdre, so I'm just going to follow the template that's been provided to me and carry on in that manner, and hopefully it'll be I won't do irreparable damage to Rotary in my tenure. So I think that's all. That's really, it's a strange time. So hopefully things will get back to some sense of normality in September.
Yeah.
Sorry, my speaker was on mute there. Apologies. Dermot, as incoming treasurer, would you like to say a few words?
I will, Stephen, and thank you. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all, and a big turnout today. It's my pleasure, my honour, and my task to take over from outgoing treasurer Linda, who's been an excellent treasurer over the last 3 years. We've done some work in terms of a smooth transition already, so hopefully that will be the case. I noted in Ian's invitation to today's meeting that the incoming treasurer would be presenting a budget for the year. Well, he isn't presenting a budget for the year today. That is something that will have to evolve as, you know, the new council and Stephen engage properly and put some plans firmly in place. But having said that, I do see that I have some key objectives that I'm more than happy to share with you today. And I would describe them as follows. And the first one would be to obviously actively support President Stephen in his role and the council by providing accurate and timely financial information and updates on how the year is progressing, so that early action planning can take place to ensure that the club fully funds itself in the year, thus avoiding the need to draw on valuable but not substantial funds built up over the years. In the year gone by, not surprisingly, there will be, you know, a small depletion of club funds. I'm quite happy to buy into an objective that in the year ahead, there will be no further depletion of club funds, that we fully fund ourselves and any donations that we make through club activities through the year. So that's the first one. And obviously, like everything else, working very closely with Stephen and the council. Also, to do so by determining as accurately as possible membership numbers on the 1st of July of this year, so that our club's district and Rotary International membership fees are based on actual subscription paying members. It can be expensive for a club if it gets surprises after the 1st of July regarding members who may not be renewing. And of course, in the current climate and current circumstances, there's a higher risk of that than there normally would be. So you may have noted an email that issued from Linda and myself, I suppose, last Friday, trying to identify any possible non-renewers of membership so that we can get that number right. There'll be a couple of phone calls made between now and the 1st of July as well, just to try and harden down the actual correct membership number as of the 1st of July, because it's on that number that our fees to district and Rotary International are determined. Also, obviously, then following on from that, ensuring timely 100% collection of club subscriptions and payment of the district and the Rotary International fees. And they come in 2 tranches, July and January. Also then, to be aiming to agree at council an approach to making it easy to consistently meet the permitted contributions of $100 and $50 to Rotary Foundation and End Polio Now, respectively. How will we do that? Well, for example, a firm commitment at council level to one fundraising event each year targeting a certain figure of fundraising, and or an agreement to set aside in a transparent manner a percentage of any funds raised through fundraising events, set it aside for Rotary charities. And as I say, we do that in a transparent way. Whatever we're organising, that would be evident from the outset that some of the funds raised will be set aside for Rotary charities. Probably with the exception of the Remembrance Tree, question mark after that, it may not be wise or appropriate to set any of those funds aside. But the idea being that, you know, we're in a stronger position each year to meet that $100 to foundation and $50 target for End Polio Now. We've been relying heavily in relation to the club's contribution to foundation on the postal survey. And there must be a small question mark over that for 2 reasons. One, will it continue at all? Will it continue indefinitely? And secondly, we've been very active participants in that, with benefits that it helps us raise our contribution to foundation. But anytime we lose a member now for whatever reason, Rudolph Helsel, for example, was actively involved in the postal survey, we are not allowed to replace them, because activity-wise, there's more than enough data coming from Kilkenny, and there are other parts of the country where there isn't sufficient data coming from the survey. So our income for foundation through the postal survey is going to drop off gradually. It's already doing so, and it will continue to do so. So that's that. And two more quick points. Working with Stephen and Council, ensuring that Rotary grant aiding opportunities are fully explored and maximised by our club. We have a good tradition in that. We've done very well in getting match funds from the foundation grants to some of the activities we've been doing. And then finally, it's a general point, providing general support to President Stephen, to the Council, to members, and to club events. I see that as key part of the role of the Treasurer. So there's some key objectives that I'm happy to buy into and share with everybody today in relation to the year ahead. And I would just pay tribute and thank Linda for the great work she's done over the last 3 years.
Thanks very much,
I see the next person on the list is John Grace, who I don't think is with us today. And after that comes Elaine O'Dwyer as the Youth Services Chair.
Hi everyone, great to see you all.
Hi Elaine.
Hope you're all keeping well. So I'm looking forward to, and thanks for all the tips that she's going to give me. And I suppose the main aim of the Youth Services Chair, the main aim for this year is hopefully that we'll be able to run the Youth Leadership Competition in September. So I think we'll hopefully get word of that in September, so that's our main target. With regards to interaction with Kilkenny as well, we're really looking forward to working with Kilkenny more next year. We're up to, we had a strategic planning meeting in May there, and we're up to hopefully about 41 members, and they've lots of ideas and that they're looking forward to working with you all next year to do with involving local charities and international and that. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's me. It's done, dusted, short and sweet. If anyone has any questions or anything, fire away.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that 41 members is a huge number. If we're not careful, there'll be more members of Interact than there are of the Rotary Club of Kilkenny. Do you think, Elaine, that it's a viable option to think of another school that might be willing to join to set up an Interact club?
I think so, yeah. I think it would be great. I know the girls were really interested in, you know, having pen pals involved in Interact in other countries, but I think, you know, it's another way of them getting to know young people in the area as well. So, and if there's any way that I can help or assist in that way, obviously I'd be happy to do so. But I think, yeah, the more members there are, the more that you can achieve, really, as the girls say themselves.
Yeah. Okay, it's something that I think we will look at. I've been thinking in particular of Kilkenny College because they have benefited more than most. Well, I won't say they've contributed quite a lot to the youth leadership program in that a number of winners, I think 3 in a row, came from there. And I think it's maybe time that they gave back something that we have given to them. Not, of course, that that's the way you should be looking at it, but I think there is an opportunity there that we might see if we can develop.
There is a new TY, sorry, Ian, through the chair, there's a new TY coordinator who is probably a bit more, who would probably be open to it. So I've mooted the idea in the school. So hopefully that will take off in September, you know, because I know they've had a tough year. So it's,
they've had a tough week.
They've had a very tough week, yeah, very tough. So, but they've had a difficult year. Like they've had, first year and second year. So, I think they kind of thought they ran a good TY program this year despite everything. So, I think it's kind of forced them to think outside the box. So, I think that they might be more open to it maybe this time. So, I've sent out a feeler to him. So hopefully he'll get back to me. Yeah, so
well done.
After that, I'll pass it on to the very capable hands of Elaine.
Yeah, sorry, could I comment on that? The principal in Kilkenny College, his previous role was principal of Middleton College, is that right, Ian?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, there was an And there was an Interact club in that college, and he was fully aware of it. And I did talk to him about it about 5 or 6 years ago. So he.
Great, yeah. And from our experience, having the committee members of the Interact Club in transition year, it's the perfect time because they have the time to get involved in it. So our membership for next year is going to be kind of 4th, 5th and 6th years, but with the committee centralised around transition years. So yeah, I agree, it's the perfect time.
Yeah, great.
So Elaine, once I get any kind of feedback, I'll talk to you about it then.
Yeah, absolutely. Put me in touch with you. No problem.
Great, thanks Elaine, thank you.
The next up is Foundation Chair. So either Stephen or Dermot. Oh, Dermot, you're mute.
A few very quick comments, obviously working with Stephen and the others to make sure that Foundation stays on our agenda and doesn't get forgotten. And I would have touched already, I suppose, on two things that when I was talking, wearing the Treasurer's hat, about two things that are relevant to Foundation. That is the postal survey, maximising what we can out of that and keeping it going as long as possible. And also trying to find a mechanism and a process where we have some, what I would call guaranteed funding heading towards our foundation contribution each year but we need to agree that at council and in the club first. So they'd be the key, I think, agenda issues in relation to foundation. Stephen and I will keep it going until Stephen has found somebody with passion to drive it on even further, and I'm sure he will.
Definitely, yeah. Thanks, Dermot.
And next is International Chair, who is John Hurley.
Thank you, Ian.
Hi, John.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so on the international side, and before I start at all, I'll just thank Jason for sending me on some background information. I'm using some of the information he had presented on last week. So the three key areas of focus from an international perspective are ones that we'll all be familiar with, and they're great stories of success. There's the School Bikes for Africa, there's the Rombo Kenya water project, and then there's the humanitarian aid for the Lebanon. So they're already in place. We've been working on these for a while already, but we will be hoping to do more. So with regard to the bikes, as you know, the program essentially encourages involves us encouraging and collaborating with others, the local authority, the defence forces, and the prisons. Get bikes that are no longer wanted, send them into the prisons workshops for renewal and so on, and then send them out to the Gambia and Africa. So our plan in the coming year then is to roll out 6 new locations, bringing to a total of 17 in partnership with the Republic of Ireland government model. And then also there's a pilot project underway in the north of Ireland with the McGilligan prison in Derry. And our hope would be that the Northern Ireland will roll out the programme during 2021 as well. And likewise in the Republic, we're looking at opening a 3rd prison bikes repair workshop in Castlereagh, County Roscommon. So the whole thing really is, we're going to send 4,000 bikes to the Gambia. It's already an established program. It's working well. So the idea will be to grow, streamline, and sustain what we're already doing. It's a great success story, and we want to keep it going. When the second project then, Aid to the Lebanon, and there we have sent out a 40-foot container of educational and other aid for kids and schools out to the Lebanon. And again, we've been utilizing collaboration with the UN and the Defence Forces, and it's been extremely well received. A great project, and we'll be looking to build and grow on that as well. And the final one, which you'll all be aware of, is the water project in Kenya. Now we're focusing on the Metipes school in the coming year. Excuse my pronunciation, it might be quite right, but they have 650 students and no water in the school. So kids are having to draw water from rivers and so on, sometimes which aren't even nearby. There's dirty water, which can lead to illness and indeed even death of some children as well. So what they need really is €40,000. and there is a facility under Rotary for global grants. So the idea is that if we can raise 20,000 from clubs and then seek a balancing 20 from the global grants, and that will solve a huge problem for 650 students and their families. So they're the main projects on the international stage for us in the coming year, basically growing on some tremendous work that has been done already, initiated in previous presidents' years. I won't mention any names. We all know the people who are instrumental in this, and everybody really has had a great hand in it as well in supporting and contributing. But fantastic programs, and I'm looking forward to working with you all in the delivery in the coming year.
Thanks, John. I see that the next person is Fellowship Chair, and I know Nora doesn't want to speak on this, but I think we should really pay tribute to the work that Nora has done in the past year. And I'd like to thank her for her genuine thoughtfulness. And I think she truly embodies the spirit of Rotary in all that she has done to encourage and maintain and nurture fellowship in perhaps the most challenging of years. So just say thanks, Nora, for all that you've done.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And as being the fellowship chair, I'm also a gopher. So if you need anything, call me.
That's not actually an official title, but it's one that I think you've assumed. You can wear that mantle well. Yeah.
I'll speak to district. Maybe we can get a new officer's position for a gopher.
Yeah. I think I just hand it over to, maybe it should be called the Nora Walsh chairperson. The next item is the service projects. And I see that my name is there, and that's probably because it wasn't taken out from 2 years ago. The main thing to talk about is the Remembrance Tree project. Last year, we barely kept it alive. We sent almost €3,000 to the Carlow Kilkenny home care team, which was only about 15% of what we raised last year. And we really do miss what we were talking about earlier, the eyeballing of people, the direct contact with people who happen to be walking by with money in their pocket and see who we are and then stop to make a contribution. It's going to be more challenging in the coming year because our venues, particularly Lochboy, may not be available. And we're just going to have to look at the best ways of doing this. And we need to get our heads together as to how best we can do this. And one of the ways we can do it is by talking to the managers and to the people who are in charge of pressure points within the city where people naturally converge. Lochboy Supermarket was perfect for that, in that everyone came in a small spot. Market Cross, it was much more diverse, and the contributions evidenced that. But it's vital that we keep this project alive and endeavour to bring it back to where it was in 2019, in 2021. If anybody has any ideas as to how best we can approach this, obviously we need to get our heads together and work on it immediately. Does anyone have any questions in relation to that particular project?
Ian, could I ask, like the positioning of the connections? Market Cross is a challenging enough spot to be based. I know that myself from having been there a couple of times. But you know, outside Dunnes Stores where the car park is, because you've got the pedestrian footpath, you've got that new walkway, you've kind of got everything converging in that area at the moment. Now that may change as well. I'm not sure because it's the summer now. Have they ever have they said no to the collection before, or have they been approached, Dunnes?
I'm not aware that they have been approached. They were. Is anybody aware of any approach to? I mean, we were in Kieran Street when we started this over 17 years ago, and it was it worked well at the top of Kieran Street, but it works better in Lochboy. It's also more sheltered.
Ian, myself and Brendan approached Dunnes Stores some time back, and we got no response.
Okay. Yeah.
You're not dealing with anyone locally, you see.
So that's it, yeah. And they're difficult enough anyway, you know. So it's
not somewhere you ever see other collections either, which would kind of suggest that.
Yeah.
What about Eurospar? Have we ever approached it?
Yes,
we
were there.
It's become a very busy complex there as well.
Yeah, going back to Dunstores, is the parking lot in Dunstores County Council?
It's County Council.
Yeah.
It is, but the place where...
So then we wouldn't have...
That's true. Even the place that they're now calling COVID Corner would be a good spot, you know?
Ian,
which Ian?
Roger McClure here. How are you?
Hi, Roger.
I have in either Special Olympics, we have collected outside Duns in their car park, and that would have been authorised through Special Olympics somewhere or other, maybe nationally. But we have collected. I have stood there. Wouldn't be nearly as good as Eurospar or as Super Value, but we have collected at the door there. So there is precedent for some collection there outside the door.
Yeah. I know that the Good Shepherd Centre has been there as well at the Kieran Street exit. But again, it's not easy to get there. And again, we're down to manpower. Now, we may be luckier this year in relation to manpower in that Kilkenny Volunteer Centre is willing to engage with us on this project. So we may be able to tap into their resources for manpower, but it's position that we need. And the more positions we have, the more likely, this is presuming that outdoor collections will be allowed again this year. But let's work towards it working. But we need collection points. And I suspect that Lochboy may be more challenging. I know Brendan Roberts, I think, if I'm correct, approached the New Park, the Eurospar in New Park. But also James O'Connor is based there. So he may, either James or Brendan may be able to tap into their contacts in Eurospar and book a place now.
Yeah, they're related to myself, so I shouldn't have too much hassle getting us in there. Never know.
Good. Yeah. Linda has asked, what about
there on the collections? Maybe this might go without saying, but we might need to keep some form of online presence going, because I don't know about you, but I notice it here in the hotel, and personally, I very, very rarely, if ever, have cash in my pocket anymore.
Yep.
No, so it might be, I don't know, it might be something to consider. I don't know how you get over that, but
it's a big challenge, Ian. We raised, as I say, about 2,800 on our I Donate site, but that 2,800 was done by 41 contributors, 41 individual contributions. So that's the number of people who contributed in the last year. So that just shows how things changed. I think we can keep, it won't cost us anything very much to have the online presence, but I would certainly, it's a very poor second best option.
This is just an idea now, and somebody more technical might know of something better, but you could have some sort of a system where you have a QR code there that somebody can scan on their phone, which brings them straight into GoFundMe or whatever it is.
Rebecca,
do you know what I mean? So they do.
Rebecca, you may be
do it there and then. Do you know what I mean?
In the Butler Gallery, they have a tap system which automatically takes €4.
We have contactless terminals, but you can get mobile options on those. So if you wanted to have them, you can also get buckets that take cash, but also have a contactless option.
Yeah.
So I can look into those for you if you like.
Please. Yeah. What's particularly helpful, because I was a couple of times in the Butler Gallery where someone saw this and automatically took out their credit card and swiped it. No effort at all, just, and €4 was was contributed. You can have it set at anything. You know, we could set it at €2 or €5. But it's this lots and lots of small amounts are infinitely better than small amounts of large donations. Yeah.
Sorry, Ian. One of the issues that was that arose in the COVID restrictions in connection with the Remembrance Tree collections for all clubs last year was the legislation in place in the Republic of Ireland to do with anti-money laundering, and that presents an issue because Rebecca, I'm assuming that the money that's taken from the card that you're referring to goes to an account for an official company or an officially registered charity. Of course, no Rotary Club is, with the exception of a couple who've gone to the trouble of getting registered as charities. No Rotary Club is, or our Rotary Club isn't a registered charity, and as such, we're not an entity. And I'm sure Jason will be able to tell you, and anybody in the banking industry will be able to tell you, it is impossible to set up contactless payments to an organisation like our Rotary Club unless we went for charitable status. The best route, the quickest route, would be to do some sort of a deal with the charity, the Carlow Kilkenny Home Care team, and get them to register, and then they would effectively take ownership of the devices that would be used, and the money would go straight to their account. It wouldn't touch our accounts at all. So that's the issue. The issue isn't the technology. The issue isn't the physical ability.
Governance. Yeah, and well, it's a challenge, but maybe the way you mentioned that some Rotary clubs have gone to the effort of having themselves registered as a charity.
Yeah, the Rotary Club of Wicklow has done that. It's a bit more onerous. It does require a bit more financial records, but it's something that should be investigated. I know that Clonmel is looking at that, and they're not, and the Naas Rotary Club are looking at it as well.
Yeah, I think it's something worth looking at if we're going to go down that route, and maybe in association with the new treasurer, we can do some work on what's required, what hoops we have to jump through in order to get there, and then we can look and see if that is worthwhile. But let's see how far we can go until we can go no further. So I think that's something I'd be happy to work with Dermot on that. And maybe we might bring in some of our banking colleagues as well.
There's the district treasurer is very au fait with the system because his own club has applied and got it, and 2 other clubs have. So there's plenty of help there.
Great, thank you. That's an item for the next agenda of the council, I think. The next person that we're inviting to speak is our public image chair, Roisin McQuillan, who's done tremendous work in keeping our face and our Facebook in front of the public. Hi, Roisin.
Hi, how are you?
Well, can you report back on how you've managed in the last year?
Well, I think the club assembly is really more about what the plans going forward. I think it's
what I'm expecting you to do is say we're going to do the same as we did last year, only more of it.
Well, I just have a few words written out that I'll just share with everyone. The public image of Rotary is how we tell and show the world what we do, what we represent, and who we are. It's an important element of being a Rotarian and is one of the tools that we can use to increase our membership. I'd like to thank Cyan Malochney for all her support in getting our stories into the Kilkenny people over last year. It was really useful to not just have a social media platform. For the year 2021 to 2022, as we return to a world that is somewhat akin to the world we knew so well only 16 months ago, Kilkenny Rotary will increase its activities in all areas. The reports from next year's council show that there's plenty of enthusiasm for this. We will have even more stories to tell and to share with everyone. And I ask that any images or videos from these events and campaigns, whether they're local, national or international, be passed on to me for dissemination. The public image of Kilkenny Rotary is not just my responsibility as the PI officer, it's the responsibility of all of us in the club. And I look forward to working with the President, the Council and all our members in telling our stories to the people of Kilkenny and to everyone else as well.
Thanks, Roisin.
Thank you.
That's great. That's great. Sharon has to go now, as we knew. So Sharon, thank you very much and good luck. And thanks for your contribution and for all the help that you've given us in the past year and hopefully for the coming year. Cheers.
Yes, apologies for it.
Oh, no, you have to go.
Lack of professionalism in the club secretary presentation. I've just found my notes. I'm having terrible technology issues today, so apologies for that. And I hope to see you all soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye, Sharon.
Bye-bye.
Our executive secretary is Jason Dempsey. Jason, the screen is yours.
Thanks, Ian, and thanks, Stephen. Sorry, my internet is popping in and out there, guys. So apologies if something was mentioned earlier on regarding the international, but I caught the end of what John was presenting, and I'd just like to offer, from my role as the international chair for Rotary Ireland, my thanks and gratitude to Kilkenny Rotary Club for the support you've given the projects which come under my remit there. So thank you for that, and I hope and look forward to continued support from Stephen and the team for those particular projects. I'd also like to offer my congratulations to Ian on what has been an extremely difficult year, but has been performed tremendously to the best of his ability and has kept the club alive with great communications going throughout a very challenging year. So well done, Ian. I'd also like to say that, Stephen, you've got my full support, and I really look forward to your year as presidents. Thank you for stepping in when it was needed, and also that you know, anything you should need, I'm sure you would have the full support of the council and any of Rotarian. So the very best of luck, Stephen. My role as executive secretary is to keep the online system up to date regarding Rotary Kilkenny, which I will continue to do. That's probably about it.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason.
One of the most challenging bits in that role is keeping abreast of people's email addresses, particularly when aircom.net started to charge. A lot of people ceased their aircom email address, but never told us what their new one was. And the only way I could find out was getting a bounce back, which only happens sometimes. But I would ask people to just keep us posted of any changes to our normal means of communicating with you, which for the past year has primarily been both by email and by text. So we need to keep abreast of any updates that people may have in those areas. We're particularly lucky in this club that we have our Assistant District Governor, Joe Mulhall, as a member. Joe has also attended council meetings where he has been a rock of sense and good advice and clear thinking. And I'd just like to ask Joe to address our club assembly in your official role as Assistant District Governor.
Yeah, thanks, President Ian and incoming President Stephen. I'm sort of representing incoming District Governor Dave Murray in this meeting. First of all, before we talk about, Roisin is quite right, this meeting is about the future and the plan for the next 12 months, but it'd be remiss of me not to mention the sterling work done by Ian and his team in the most challenging of circumstances. I mean, we just have to look at, 4 key project areas that Ian's team has performed so well in under difficult circumstances, and that would be, of course, the speaker program, which is an example and a model for all of the clubs in the district. And no club in the district was able to do what Ian and his team did over the 52 weeks, or 50 so far, 50 weeks of the Rotary year. It was phenomenal. Second thing is, of course, the support for the perennial project of School Bikes for Africa, the Postal Survey. And I know that was all subject to COVID restrictions, but still Kilkenny led the way, and of course led by Jason. Not to be underestimated, while the Remembrance Tree, in the eyes of the Kilkenny Rotary Club, only perform 15% of what it normally would do, I can tell you for many Rotary clubs, €3,000 for the Remembrance Tree is a good year. You know, it's still an achievement, especially as none of it was done face to face. It was all done online and virtually. So hats off to President Ian and your team, and I'm sure it will be recognised once you hand over. First of all, I bring greetings from incoming District Governor David Murray, and from the current District Governor Connie Ovenson. Kilkenny Rotary Club is probably still the largest in the country, certainly the largest in the south, and it is recognised as being one of the bigger clubs, and one of the clubs that runs good projects, big projects, and is respected. It's different to the clubs in the big urban areas like Dublin and Belfast, and it's sort of more of a traditional Rotary club in that it is run along traditional Rotary lines, and there is a core to the community. It's fortunate in that respect. So clubs like Waterford, Kilkenny and Clonmel are very fortunate in that they have a large provincial urban area. There's a core to the town or the city, and there's a feeling of camaraderie that's easily come by. It's harder for clubs, for example, in the suburbs of Dublin. Anyway, I just wanted to commend the plan. It is, as I expected, a formidable plan. It is, from a district point of view, there's 3 points I would like to raise with you. But before I do that, the first thing is about reopening. I think one of the things that's very clear in my interaction with all of the clubs is that the membership want to have face-to-face meetings as soon as possible. Some clubs, particularly those in Northern Ireland, did not meet virtually at all. So Rotary is open to that. I have sent out a detailed email to the presidents and presidents-elects in the zone as to the Rotary position on that. And essentially it is open as you're permitted by your local and national legislation. Be careful, make sure you consult with your members, and those members that feel uncomfortable about meeting face-to-face again for whatever reason should be accommodated as much as possible if you can have a virtual option open to them. Engage with your, in Kilkenny's case, it's Ian in the clubhouse. Engage with your venue management to carry out a brief risk assessment on the COVID, on the risks of COVID. I have sent some documentation through, and there is more documentation to be posted on the RGBI website. So there is a plan there to support you. You will be insured. So long as you're not doing anything illegal, you are insured. That's bottom line. The 3 points. Firstly, the most important thing for the challenge that Stephen and his team face as far as district is concerned is the re-engagement of your membership, particularly those who did not get involved during the COVID lockdowns. It's a bigger challenge to clubs like Kilkenny because of the large membership. And the challenge is to reach out to those members and to try and get them re-engaging as soon as possible, and look beyond that to new members. Now, I've mentioned this on several occasions, and Stephen is probably fed up of hearing me saying it, but that's the #1 priority. I suppose #2 would be foundation, and Dermot has touched on that. I'm not going to go into the details as to where the money should come from or anything like that. That's really it's a club matter. However, there is one aspect to foundation and the foundation trust itself that I would like to mention to you, and that's it's not just a matter of just getting the money in. We do feel at a district level and internationally that our foundation trust is an asset, not only a financial asset, but also an asset in that it shows how responsible and how well governed Rotary is, and how it can be trusted at a time when, you know, trust in institutions can be questionable. And that is one of the reasons why, rather than relying totally on, say, the postal survey and on sustaining members and private donations by Rotarians, we would like to see a greater emphasis on the Rotary Foundation in fundraising within the communities to raise awareness amongst the communities. Fortunately, for Kilkenny's point of view, if people ever have heard of foundation, it's generally in the context of a grant that's been received, which is very positive. But we would like to try and raise the awareness of foundation, the quality of a charitable trust that it is, how it's one of the best run in the world, and how it does good for everyone. And that's something that I'd ask you to look at. The last thing is, of course, environmental projects. Now Rotary has created a 7th area of focus within Foundation, eligible for grants, and that is environmental projects. There is one particular area that district has worked on, and that's a tree project, and it's been led by Assistant Governor Grace O'Donnell from Kerry. And that involves supporting clubs who want to get involved in tree planting, whether it be a small project with other groups, or whether it be a single project led by Rotary, maybe in conjunction with the local authority. And we just have to look at international and the success Jason achieved with School Bikes for Africa, working with the local authority. Think that, remembering that we have a minister in our constituency whose focus is on environment, and who's also a member of a political movement dedicated to the environment, there may be a unique opportunity for the Rotary Club of Kilkenny to do something big in this area. They're the three main areas I'd like to raise in connection with your plan for the year. As a final note, I really want to take my hat off to Elaine and the Interact Club of Loretta. You're really tearing trees up, to use the environmental expression, and really hope that with an environmental project, we may attract more younger members, not just for the Interact Club, but also for our own club into the future. Okay, so with that, I wish Stephen the very best with the year ahead, and he will have my full support, and whatever help I can give you, I will give you. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. Now, Stephen, the floor is yours, or should I say the screen is yours.
Yeah, just to touch on the environment, I suppose we didn't have, Ella has offered to take the officer's role as environment officer, and she unfortunately can't make it today. But I suppose she just felt from sitting in on that discussion group a couple of weeks back that most clubs were just discussing tree projects, and she felt maybe that we could bring our heads together and maybe come up with something a bit more inventive or something. So we're not ruling out the tree project, but certainly she feels that maybe we can go a step further on that. And I suppose with more meetings, we'll definitely, it's an area we're going to work on, and hopefully come up with something really good there. Okay, moving on from that then, at the District Assembly, incoming District Governor Dave Murray outlined his year plan, which is reopen, renew, retain. In Kilkenny, we see Rotary as a fellowship community sharing the same values and personal integrity. By networking and friendship, this will draw new people to our Rotary Club. Finally, I'd like to thank you all for logging in today and for your input, to the members of our council for their vision and leadership, and to Assistant District Governor Joe for his attendance and Rotary's future plans. To everyone involved with Rotary Kilkenny for giving me this great opportunity to lead our fantastic club. Coming from a family business in the footsteps of my late dad, Seamus was a member of Kilkenny Rotary. He had some great friends in the club, and many of you who I've gotten to know over the years. Apologies. He always prided himself in good customer service, which was instilled in us. And with this train of thought passed down through our family business, I feel this is why I enjoy Rotary. We can offer service to help others. The theme of the coming year is service to change lives. Thank you, and I look forward to working with you over the coming year.
Ian, I think Ian Brennan would like to talk.
Oh, great. Hi, Ian.
I won't hold you long. Can I give you a very quick update with relation to the venue and the meeting?
Yes, please. This is good news, I hope.
Put an inquiry into the Irish Hotels Federation with relation to the meeting. Now, they didn't really give me any more than what's in the regulations, but I might just read you what it says for the moment from the 5th of July onwards. It basically says that non-social training and education meetings can take place when considered essential to the operation of the business/organization. So I don't know what the answer is with regard to that, but it's basically saying that meetings can go ahead if they're considered essential as such. So until there's a bit more update on that, I'm not 100% sure what more to say about it, you know. But just that's really the update now. They're putting a question to government about it, looking for more clarity, because obviously there's lots of other organisations like Rotary and various others that are asking the same question. So really, I suppose that's where it stands for the moment, anyway. But obviously, as the venue for Rotary, we'd be delighted as soon as we can to have Rotary back for face-to-face meetings. And I discussed with Stephen, and we might work on it over the next month or so, about maybe having a facility that we can have a face-to-face meeting and have a virtual option available if needed or whatever for speakers.
That's reasonably positive, I think, Ian, because if you look...
Over the next month or two, things will become a bit clearer, but that's where, at this very moment, that's where it's at anyway.
Great. Thank you very much, Ian. And thanks for sticking with us in all of this. Okay. Thank you very much, Stephen. You've taken on a challenging role, but I know that you're doing it with both integrity and enthusiasm, which are two things you can't buy. They're built into you as a person. And I'd like to thank you for taking on the role, particularly at such short notice. That concludes the work of our assembly for today. We meet again next Monday at 1 o'clock. When we'll have a speaker that some of you may know, is my son, Reengagement, who is working with the most unusual company in London. And he'll be talking about the work that he's doing with embassies and the other work of the company Bumpus & Power, which is a company that couldn't exist in Kilkenny and probably not even in Ireland. And he'll be joining us direct from London by Zoom on Monday next. And then we arrange in early July for the handover of the chain of office to Stephen Costello and for our first meeting under the new Rotary year. Okay, everyone, that concludes our club assembly for this year. And I look forward to seeing as many as possible of you that can join us on Monday next at 1 o'clock. Look after yourselves in the meantime. Bye-bye now.